in India, managements and workers particularly, and even suppliers in a sense, have been adversarial. You've seen years and years of unions versus management and strikes and demands and each one calling each other names and all kinds of things have been going on.
And that happens in other parts of the world too.
And most parts of the world. It's something which started from the Karl Marx theory that workers of the work unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. I mean, that kind of stuff. Now today, if you look in a global context of virtually flatter economy than ever before, with global competition, tell me, how does a worker safeguard his job? Is it by government action? Is it through laws? Or is it by the continuing health and prosperity of his company? I don't know of any other way in today's world, in a market economy, where government in any case doesn't have resources to prop up sick companies. The only way a company can actually grow, survive and retain workers' jobs or grow employment is by growing itself and remaining prosperous.
Right, but that also sounds logical in some ways, doesn't it?
It is logical.
Yeah.
So, is it in the worker's interest to harm the company or to benefit the company? Clearly, logically, then it is in the worker's interest that the company should prosper. They should do everything possible to make it prosper. But would the workers make a company prosper if they found that when the company is prospering, they are getting nothing out of it, and all the gains are going to the top management? Then they won't trust the top management ki kya fayda mujhe. So the conditions have to be created where the workers and the managements are both concerned with the growth of the company, with benefits going to all stakeholders of the company, not with individual people claiming a large share of the pie. If money is taken out of a company in cash, which I think a lot of companies do, it weakens the company. How do people then believe that they should work for the good of the company if they also know that undisclosed amounts of money are taken out of the company? If the money from the company is used by management for various activities which are not related to the growth of the company and its stakeholders.
Unrelated diversity.
Let's say I am running a car company. I use the profits of this car company to buy real estate and speculate in real estate, or I put it into the stock market, or I get into a totally unrelated business. Let's say I start a chain of restaurants from money earned from the company, and I don't put that money back into the company for its growth, for improvement of technology, for improvement of competitiveness. Then am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing? So the requirement also is that if the management is focused on the growth of the company and they use the resources of the company, they maximize internal resources, and where the salary comes in is in two areas. One is in creating trust, that I'm not working hard and making suggestions for improvement of the company so that the managing director can pay himself 50 crores a year. The second part is that with that money going out as salary, and it's all legal salary, the internal resources get reduced. Then when it comes to making investment in improving technology or renovating something or replacing something, so we don't have money, we'll have to borrow. Why should you borrow if you're taking out so much money from the company? So these factors all have to be looked at if industry in India is going to become globally competitive. If you were to do a detailed study of the companies which have global competitiveness, you'll find the managements in all those cases have had at least a paternalistic approach towards their workers. They've looked after them and they have led low-key lifestyles. They have not been the ostentatious consumption top managers.
Right. So last question. So I mean, and you, in the case of your own company, you've had some union problems in Manesar. Now there may be historical reasons for it, but what are the lessons? I mean, if was something in this formula that didn't work?
No, the Manesar plant started much later than Gurgaon. Gurgaon never had a problem. I think what happened in Manesar, by that time, people got to believe in the company that what was happening in Gurgaon was something given which would happen anyway. It's not correct. In Manesar, you had an entirely new set of workers. It was like what Gurgaon was in 1983-84. The same set of new workers coming from the villages, young guys of 18, 20 years of age. If you did not repeat virtually the practices which you followed in Gurgaon and took time to bring them up to the level of Gurgaon, how would you expect them to suddenly be at the level of Gurgaon without doing all this communication and process of education and changing their mindsets and making them believe what was good for industry and themselves? It didn't happen. People tried to short circuit that because they took it for granted it will happen. There was a failure of communication.
That's the lesson. And that's the lesson.
And there were other,
lessons,
that was our side of it. There were of course other mistakes which were made
right.
in recruitment and other things, but that's a separate.